When earning season starts, you're going to see that a lot of stocks react to earnings with 1 day big move. There is no guarantee that those big moves on the earnings day are going to lead to a follow through. This is especially true in a bearish market or in a market like current market where you have moves which happen which can be 1 day big moves but they don't follow through. So but the same stocks which had big earning reaction, if you track, then later they can give you an opportunity. So how can you play these kind of moves? Because you are not sure about the follow through which is going to happen. So you have to typically play these kind of earnings move just as a 1 day trade or a 2 day trade to see if they have a follow through or not. So the better way to trade these kind of moves is by creating a watch list, because many of these stocks later, after a few weeks, or if the market has a window where the market itself is rallying, make a move. So here is a list of stocks which till now in the last 10 days which had earnings reaction and which I have created. So let's go to TC2000 to look at this list. So if you look at, this is a stock which reacted positively to earnings, right? Now there is no guarantee that this stock is going to keep on going up. Here also it reacted positively, but if we monitor and if it goes sideways and sets up nicely and there is a second breakout, then I would rather buy a second breakout on this kind of a stock. Celsius Holding, another stock which reacted very positively to earnings. Now, if you look at this particular stock and see, uh, it tends to react positively to earnings. Here also, it reacted positively to earnings, but nothing happened. Or here also, it reacted positively to earnings, but then spent months doing nothing. Then later had a breakout. So these kind of stocks, either you can, like if you're a long term kind of a player, then you put a small position and hold it and watch kind of a thing, or wait for a second setup to form on this kind of a stock. The Maxon is a good example of this, because if you see Maxon in the last earnings season also, it had a big move and really nothing happened, or like you would have got stopped out. Then later it made this move of like around 30%. So these kind of moves, there is no guarantee that they are going to have a follow through. So best is to trade them as just a 1 day move and then put them in a watch list and then look for a setup. Now, if you see Sonos, again here, shorting it immediately may not be such a smart move, because many times what happens is they can rally back up to here or here, and then later they can have a delayed reaction to earnings like it had here. So these are some of the stocks which I am monitoring, like Uber. So how well after the earning the stock holds up its gains, and how compact it acts after the earnings is what really is going to determine whether the buyers are still present. So this is a stock which is very nicely a reaction to earnings and it is held up its gains. So probability of it working is much higher. Now pins is something which has like gone down after earnings, and now it is like having a small consolidation. Now it might offer another opportunity for shorting. Now here is a stock which really didn't react too much on the earnings day, even though the earnings was very good. Now it might later react to this particular earnings. Again, like here also, the earnings was good, but it didn't react. So keeping a watch list of earnings breakout or breakdown is what I have modified my method for trading earnings breakout nowadays, because in a bull market, same earnings would have immediately led to a 20, 30, 40% move. But in this market, you get these 1 day moves which are followed by just the stock giving up all the gains or the stock not really going anywhere. So this is another example of a stock which I traded later. This had earnings. After that, it actually ended up giving up all the gains, and then later it made a move. Again, it didn't really make a big move, and part of the reason why it didn't make a big move is the market, right, conditions. So here, Palantir had a good earnings, gapped up, but there is no guarantee that it is going to continue. But again, the action on Palantir, the action on something like Celsius Holding so far, it's too early to say. But Uber is encouraging in the sense they are holding on to their gains from earning. This is the kind of reaction which happens, this delayed reaction. On the day of earnings, the stock actually didn't close near high, closed near low, and then later it made a move. But now again, if it goes sideways and sets up, and there is a lot of buying which has happened in this stock. So this is a prime opportunity setup which I am watching now for a second leg move. Airbnb. Now here, the stock had a negative reaction to earnings, but nothing happened. Here, there was a positive reaction to earnings. So just going into the earnings trade, uh, gungo, and expecting it to work it out is not working in this market condition. Airbnb is a classic example of in the last earnings season. A lot of people like thought that this is the earnings CP, and it actually ended up giving up all the gains and never made a move. Now here there's a negative reaction. We don't know whether there will be a follow through on this negative reaction, but after a certain period of time, if it breaks down again, then it will offer a better opportunity. Roblox actually had a negative earnings. Sometimes stocks have negative earnings and the stocks reacts positively. Or the earnings was not good, but the stocks reacts positively. These kind of stocks also can make a move. So I'm just monitoring. Now this is why if you short immediately, yes, it worked for some time, but then it recovered, right? This same stock after some time can also break down, and that might offer a better opportunity for shorting. So some stocks, even though the earnings might be good, don't really react on the day of earnings. So okay, look, and they are not really going to make a move, kind of a thing. Now this app again gapped up, nothing happened. Earnings was very good, but like there was no reaction as such from the earnings. So here also same thing happened. So reacting to earnings and there's a tendency which I have seen like and a lot of people who claim that every single earnings is an EP. Not every single earnings is an EP. Because if it is just not going to be making a even that move on the day of the earnings, that tells you the market doesn't consider that particular earnings as something which is worthwhile, right? Similar, Datadog has reacted very positively. This is another stock which I am watching very closely. Aristanet, another stock which I am watching. So out of this list, really prime, and this is a dynamic list. So prime candidate is Uber, prime candidate is Palantir, LTHM, Net, Datadog, and Aristanet, which I am watching for earnings.